Then the next guy will put this on it, next guy put this on it. Kept- Each position, it'll get a little more. And believe it or not, just beyond me, about 100 feet, they were driving that car off the line. And they started as a shell up in the beginning. Can you beat that?
Right.
They had to give it some, there was a guy there, they put some gas in the gas cap in the gas in the carburetor. Then he put a little bit of gas in the gas tank. I wish I had had
Was that
his
the last
job.
stop?
Huh?
Was that one of the last stops?
That was the last stop. And after you put the gas in the gas tank and some in the carburetor, then, oh, not really. They drove it to the next position. That guy tested the brakes, tested everything. If he found anything wrong, he'd bang on the car or hollered, and they had to send a man down to finish that job. But it was no picnic,
Yeah.
as you can tell.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as a break. And you could light up a cigarette and you put it on the edge of your bench. Take a couple of puffs till the next car got to the front of your position. Then you tighten his bolts. And then you take another smoke, another drag, and then the car got to the next position. In other words, the rear end got down there. Then you had your wrench over your shoulder, and you take it and tighten the bolts, and then you had a couple of other bolts you had to tighten, and then the car would keep going. It never stopped. Always moving. And you had to keep your feet moving all the time, you know. You got used to toe, nail, heel, toe, nail, heel. And that was really the toughest job I ever had, because there was no such thing as a break until the guy got to your position. So if you had to pee, say, long before he got there, you're out of luck. You had to hold it or you had to pee your pants. So either one. In those days, there were really tight unions. Oh, the unions were tight. So that's why when the union wanted to put me on the line, walking around the building with a sign, says we're on strike or something, I told them to take the sign and shove it. And then I quit the job there, and I went downtown, and gee, the first thing I did, I went to this store of mailings where they sold ladies' shoes, and I asked if they could get a job, if I could get a job. They said, did you sell shoes before? Oh, I said, oh yeah. Never sold a shoe in Paralyzed. Anyway, he says, and okay, you take this position. So I took that position, and I'd shove and shove. Sometimes I couldn't hardly get a lady's foot in a shoe. And if you walked one, a lady without selling her pair of shoes, the manager would come over and he'd chew your ass on you. Why did you walk that lady? As well as couldn't get a shoe to fit her. But God damn it, don't you ever walk another lady again. That was his attitude. You couldn't walk a lady without a pair of shoes. So that's how the real world was in those days. That's right after I got out of the service. So I was a pretty good worker, but boy, I had never worked a job like that. Service, we didn't have to do that, you know. You stood around and leaned against your rifle, and let it do the work. See. And then, here's something else I think I told you. Here's trained us how to clean a rifle, because there's a lot of mud over in Germany. And they trained us, so we could change any part on that rifle blindfolded. They do that. They put a blindfold on you and says, now fix this or fix that. The reason why they did that, because a lot of times you only got to fix your rifle at night, not during the daytime, because, boy, you had to be shooting. That night, I got to fix mine, but here's the thing. Believe it or not, I never once fixed my rifle. Never once cleaned it. And I'll tell you why. They were sending all these greenhorns. Now, a greenhorn is a soldier who hasn't trained with your outfit. They were sending these greenhorns up with brand new rifles. I didn't get a brand new one when I went overseas with outfit. Brand new rifles. Well, the first chance I saw one get killed, I took his rifle, which was brand new, and then I took his bayonet. You had to do this. You put the bayonet on the end of your rifle, stab it in the ground next to his body. Then you would have a new rifle. You'd take his. Now you had a new one. I never once cleaned my rifle. Always had a brand new rifle. Whenever this one would get dirty, I'd wait and watch for a greenhorn, and I'd see a guy laying there. I'd go over, and sure enough, he's laying with his rifle, and I'd take that rifle and put the bayonet on it. Or no, not on that one. I'd keep that one and put his bayonet on his rifle, on my rifle. Stab it in the ground. You had to really stab it. And the reason they had you stab it in the ground, so when the burial detail come along, they could see where all the rifle butts were sticking up in the air. And that way they could bury those guys. They just throw them in a great big pickup behind a Jeep. I never got that aborted pickup. And they throw those guys, there were a lot of them, rigor mortis had set in. So they were in crazy shapes in that Jeep trailer. Crazy shapes. And once the rigor mortis set in, no matter how they were, they'd stay that way. Even when they threw them in the Jeep. Then they took them back to the burial grounds in Luxembourg. And they had a big cemetery there. They had 5,700 some guys there. Then up at Bastogne, that's Belgium, where the Battle of the Bulge was, there was over 7,000. So you see, they were getting the bodies. And I'm glad they didn't find mine. They tried to take it once, but I hit the guy over the head with a rifle. But anyway, I got out of being buried over there. Now you know why. I was so happy when I got shot. I was through the legs. Hey, anybody can live through that. Anybody. Through the legs. And my only regrets is I looked around to see if I could find the sniper, because I wanted to get his name and address so I could send him a box of cigars every Christmas. But I never found that sniper. Never found him. But he was a good guy, and I hoped he didn't get killed. I was hoping he didn't get killed, because he saved my life. Because I was sure I was going to die over there. I was so sure. You know, my mother and father weren't living together, your grandmother and my dad weren't. They were divorcing. So I wrote them both a real nice letter of goodbye. And I gave them to Shook the cook. Now, isn't that a pretty good name? Shook the cook. He worked in the kitchen. He took those, I gave him those two rifle letters. I says, now as soon as you see her, I'm dead, mail the letters. By golly, he never had to mail them. He never had to mail them. That's why I'm sitting here now, wishing I could get some cooperation there, but that's the way it is. I'm getting what I earned over there. See, so I'm not such a bad guy once you get to know me.